Hello and welcome to the Good Dram show with me, Chris Dram. In this edition, the very first edition I hasten to add, of the show, we will be tasting a couple of whiskies from one of my favourite distilleries, that being Bruichladdich on Islay. Now, for this particular tasting I've chosen two fairly extreme bottlings that the distillery produces. One is the most heavily peated malt currently available, called Octomore, and the other is the baby Laddie, the new 10-year-old. First off, let's try this baby Laddie. Now, the interesting thing about this particular bottling is that it's slightly different from its predecessor. The old 10-year-old was a pure bourbon oak malt, which displayed all of the wonderful character of Bruichladdich, the honeysuckle, the apricots, apples, and that lovely sort of coastally kind of character. This, however, is a slightly different animal. It's a vatting of both bourbon and sherry casks, so it has a little bit more richness than the old bottling, which, when you stick your nose in a glass, is pretty evident from the word go. But unlike with some whiskies that tend to use sherry cask in their vatting, this has a lovely balance to it. You get just the right amount of the sherry cask coming through, which doesn't mask that intrinsic distillery character, and all round very pleasant. Right, okay then, let's see what this tastes like then. Well, pretty much as you'd expect. Again, like the nose, it has a lovely balance. You get the essence of the distillery character coming through, but it's supported by the sherry cask, which gives it an added richness. There's also plenty of lovely coastal character, and it finishes with a nice salty note, shall we say. Right, on to the Octomore. Now, obviously the first thing you tend to notice about this particular bottling is there's a lot of peat. Now, a number of whiskies over the years have been called peat monster or peat whatever, and frankly they don't stack up to this. This is the daddy of the peated malts. Now, yes, it's pretty young, at being around about 5 years old, so there is a lot of high-toned spirit character which you notice first up, but it's the peat, and it's not a one-dimensional peat character either. The interesting thing about this is that there is a lovely complexity within that peat. You get slight medicinal character of, say, Lefroy coming through. You also get a lovely earthy kind of character, which I often tend to find in malts such as Longrow. Right, okay, onto the palate. Let's see what this baby tastes like. Oh yeah, that is peaty. You get a lot of sort of bonfirey, charcoaly, earthy peat notes coming up first, and my God does it linger. Now I'm getting slightly medicinal notes, and just a vague sensation of the actual distillery character, which is actually amazing when you think it's about 167 parts per million, which is quite an awful lot. So, this is a peat monster. So, in summing up, here you have two very wildly different malts from the same distillery. Obviously, the Octomore won't be appreciated by everybody. It's a Marmite malt, to be honest with you. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There's absolutely no middle ground when it comes to the Octomore. The Laddie 10, on the other hand, it's the sort of malt that I would suggest that anyone that sort of is looking to get into Islay malts would be quite happy to go for. It doesn't have any real peat character, maybe just a very smidge there, but it's got a lovely richness and it's got some wonderful coastal character. So, there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this first episode of the Good Dram show, and I hope that you will tune in again and see what I'm tasting next time. So, until then, good night.